All set. Well, here we are in the town of Hamburg. This shares the distinction with Orchard Park as being the epicenter of a massive snow event, which I would say is one for the record books. I'm joined by Commissioner Jackie Bray, Commissioner of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, who brings incredible expertise to this, having been the many roles in emergency services, but also as a Chief of Staff to the National Weather Service in Washington at one time. So she's been a real expert and an asset for us. Marie-Therese Dominguez, our Commissioner of the DOT, has been extraordinary in her efforts as well. I want to commend her and her entire team. We also have State Police Superintendent Steve Nigrelli. Talk about hometown hero. He's a local Hamburg resident, so he knows the streets, he knows the communities, and he knows our capabilities, and I want to thank him for his leadership. Also, some of my partners in government, Mayor Tom Tallman from the Village of Hamburg is here. Tom and I go back to kindergarten many, many years ago, right in the town of Hamburg, in the Village of Hamburg, and Councilmember Karen Hochul, who also is the Deputy Commissioner of Highways, has joined us, as well as the one and only Storm Pro, who is our county executive. We've been through a lot together, Mark Polenkars, and he's been out on the roads, often sending photos to me, letting me know what's happening on the ground. So I want to thank him. Everybody looks a little tired, but that's okay. No one can be more tired than our crews here. I want to give a shout out to the DOT plow crews who came all the way here from Long Island. To our Long Island guys, there you are. I'd probably be accurate in saying they're a little bit snow shocked instead of shell shocked, seeing the volume of snow here, but I'm sure you got some great stories to take back to Long Island. And so this is the effort we've brought together, bringing resources, people, equipment from all over the state of New York. And because we were so preemptive in this strike, we were able to avert many tragedies. And we know that from having gone through countless snowstorms, not all of this magnitude, but many very serious in the past, 2014, 2013, 2006, 2010. So we all know particular storms, but this is one because of the volume, the intense volume, sometimes upwards of 6 inches of snow per hour. We had originally been told 2 to 3, then possibly 3 to 4, 4 to 5, but we actually hit 6 inches an hour, which is why we believe we'll be making history with having the most amount of snowfall in a 24-hour period right here in the state of New York. Never happened like this before. But as I mentioned, bringing resources here early on, I think that averted many accidents. You look back to 2014, there were literally thousands of stranded motorists. We have only had 88 crashes, which is 88 more than we want to have, but only about 280 people had to be rescued, which is extraordinary compared to what could have been. And I thank Western New Yorkers for heeding the early call, literally starting on Wednesday and shutting down the thruway to commercial traffic at 4 p.m. on Thursday before the snow started to fall, and taking steps to shut down the thruway in our major highways and having the travel bans. All this made a difference in protecting human life. We've been incredible in making sure that we do everything we can to ensure our roads are safe, that they're clear for emergency services, so ambulances, emergency vehicles, fire vehicles can get to where they need to go in case they're needed. So I'm proud of that effort, proud of the incredible coordination. I mean, working with the county, working with the city, working with our towns. A lot of it comes from personal relationships that are deep, and this is when it matters. The cooperation, the coordination, no turf battles. Everybody has rolled up their sleeves and literally put down their blades. The snowplows are helping everywhere, regardless of jurisdiction. I'm really proud of that as well. I did make some rounds earlier today as well. Stopped at the Shamrock Trailer Park, a place my parents started married life, so I wanted to check in on that community in Lackawanna. And people are resilient. They're strong. They're out there. I was out there helping keep an eye on someone's cat so it didn't get snuck in the snow. But it's a great community, and I wanted to make sure they felt safe. So I want everybody to know that there's 49 mobile home parks within the vicinity of the disaster area, our emergency area. All of them are being checked on personally because there's a vulnerability. You talk about roof collapses. These are not strong roofs, and so we want to make sure that people who hear a single sound know to leave the vicinity immediately because it could be the collapse of a roof. Speaking of roof collapses, I just went over to an iconic building there since 1942, Bray Miller's Bowling, right here in the Village of Hamburg, a place I spent countless hours bowling as a child and as a mom, bringing my kids there for bowling parties. The front facade looks fine. You go around the back, it is literally collapsed. It is not going to be able to be repaired or redeemed because the bowling alley has literally been collapsed upon because of the weight of snow on the roof. So we're just inspecting that. I was there with Mayor Tom Tallman, who also bowled there often, so it's a loss, but we're going to help them rebuild, and that's important to us. So this is something we just want to point out. Despite the fact that we may not be in blizzard conditions, these roofs can be collapsed when you put the weight of 5, 6, 7 feet of snow on them as well. Power outages, really confined. We deployed, we had 5,700 utility crews ready to ascend on Western New York if necessary. Again, trying to avert what we've seen in the past where people are not just in a cold circumstance, can't get out of their driveway, but then have no power. So there's only about 721 power outages right now, statewide about 1,600. So we've been helpful to people out there supporting them. Again, state police have been doing everything they can to deal with some crisis we had overnight, which was 70 tractor trailers, all violating a driving ban, as well as 10 passenger vehicles that were out on the Eden Evans Center Road over the night, and some of them had to be taken to warming stations. So that has abated. The traffic that was jammed up at the thruway entrances, we now have an opening for the thruway for commercial traffic to stop the pressure points, especially along Mile Strip Road, Camp Road. I just went past there, and some other points of entry. So we've done that. Just opened up the thruway for what we call a soft opening. It's open for commercial traffic only, because remember, there are still driving bans in effect. So just because you see some traffic on the thruway does not mean it's open to all through traffic, because we have to continue making sure that while the thruway may be clear in many areas, we have to make sure that all the ramps are safe as well, and that takes longer to plow. And knowing that we have another wave of the storm coming in later tonight, not the same volume, probably more like 6 to 8 inches, but it could be changing. We wanted to make sure that before we officially open up the thruway to everybody, and working in concert with the county executive and the communities on driving bans, so that's all coordinated there. The sky will also be opening. We'll be giving notification on when the sky will be open as well. We just want to get the roads a little bit clearer, and again, working with the driving bans that are in effect. So we've also doubled the amount of National Guard members that were brought here. We originally had about 70. We now have 150. They're doing everything from transporting dialysis patients in the town of Hamburg here to their appointments, to knocking on doors and making sure that people are safe, and trying to help people get through this as best we can. I also want to announce that I will be, as of today, signing a request for a federal emergency declaration. This is important for us to be able to receive reimbursements for the expenses of this storm. We've been in contact with FEMA, and we feel hopeful, optimistic that this will be granted, because we've brought in not just all the resources across the state, also private contractors that the county and we have to pay for, private contractors, as well as the shared service agreements we have. For example, the county of Cattaraugus has sent 20 plows up to help us, and so we want to make sure that everybody can get reimbursed. So that request is going in as of as soon as I finish this event. I'll be signing the paperwork and making sure that that's official. So that's all I had at this point. Commissioner, is there anything else I need to add on? Anything else, Superintendent? All good? Okay. County Executive Poloncarz, I'm sure you have something to add, because you've been out there, and I appreciate your leadership through this. It's been extraordinary. And a lot of people are commenting on the fact that we're not seeing the same situation we've seen in the past, where stranded motorists and people not being able to handle the circumstances and who's doing what and who's talking to whom. That is no longer the case. A relationship that goes back as many years as ours, and certainly working with our other partners, has really made a difference for the people of West New York. So I want to just thank you personally, County Executive Poloncarz.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor, and thank you for your commitment to not only bringing resources in here before the storm happened, but ensuring that additional ones would get here as well throughout the storm. We were talking and communicating last night about those National Guardsmen, which have arrived, and they're going out right now. They arrived at our operations center, and we sent them out. It is once again, an all-hands-on-deck affair, and I want to thank the Governor and her team, Commissioners Bray, Commissioner Dominguez, Superintendent Negrelli, and all the folks associated with New York State for their tremendous work. This is where we take off our hats, so to speak. They're There's not so many generals as there are a lot of people in charge who everyone has a good idea, and if it's a good idea, we follow it, no matter who you are. So on behalf of the people of Erie County, thank you. Thank you for all you've done. I did want to note we still have a state of emergency in Erie County, and there are driving bans in effect in the following communities. The City of Buffalo from William Street South, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, Alden, Marilla, Elma, West Seneca, the City of Lackawanna, Hamburg, Orchard Park, Aurora, Wales, Boston, Eden, and Evans. Now, based on the reports from the field, the work that has been done, as well as just the tours that I've taken recently in the last couple hours, it is likely that a number of those communities will see the driving bans lifted later this evening. I can tell you that Hamburg and Orchard Park will probably not see that because they are the worst hit, and it's going to take some time to get through those communities. Good progress has been made by our Department of Public Works teams, the Department of Transportation, the towns, the villages, as well as the contractors we've hired. Erie County has hired multiple contractors, and we have about 50 high lifts that we've contracted for on the road, in addition to the ones that we have in our snow blowers. We really focused on the arterial roads, and it's good to see that at this point, after such a significant snowfall that just ended, as we know, pretty much in the middle of the night, that these main roads are open. So I want to thank all of the workers in the Department of Transportation and Public Works for the tremendous job that they did. It wasn't like this in previous storms. As we know what happened 8 years ago, and we know what happened in storms before. It often took days before we could even get arterial main roads open, nevertheless get into the neighborhoods. Parts of the City of Lackawanna, the 4th Ward and the 3rd Ward, they've already hit the side streets. West Seneca and Cheektowaga look very good. The side streets have pretty much all been hit. So I feel very good about being able to lift the ban in some of the communities tonight. But in Hamburg and Orchard Park, you're still going to be dealing with the issues of high lifts on the road, trying to dig out communities. When you have the equivalent amount of snow as Josh Allen is tall, which is 6'5", it's going to take some time to get in there and clean out the neighborhoods. So on behalf of the people of Erie County, I want to thank the governor and her team. They've been in constant communication, letting us know exactly what we need to know. We've been communicating with them, letting them what they need to know, as well as to our friends in town government and village government. At 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. every day, we have a supervisor, mayor, emergency manager call in which we're informing the communities about what's happening in their communities. And I want to thank the participants for being on those calls, because they're the eyes on the ground. Especially during the middle of the storm, we were not and could not send individuals into the teeth of the battle except for our plow crews. But it was the supervisors, the mayors, the highway superintendent, the police chiefs, the fire chiefs who could report back on what was happening in their communities and where resources needed to be sent. So on behalf of the people of this community, I want to thank all of our partners for participating not only in those emergency manager and supervisor calls, but also throughout the day letting us know what we needed to do so we could get through the storm as quickly as possible. And I like the position we're in. As the governor noted, we've avoided a lot of the incidents and accidents that unfortunately have taken lives in the past, and it's a testament to the hard work of the people in this community and those who listened to the driving ban. The vast majority of our residents stayed home, and that's the key. By them staying home, I believe lives have been saved. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you. I'll also say that with respect to our emergency declaration request, I did speak to Majority Leader Senator Schumer. Chuck Schumer and I already had a conversation about that, so he's aware of that request, and I know he'll be of assistance. And again, I do want to put an exclamation point on the communication. I did a call earlier today with the 11 counties that are still under our emergency declaration, or this goes all the way up to Jefferson County, Oswego County, many others that are outside this viewing area, but also I'll be heading probably up to Watertown tomorrow to assess the situation there as well. So this is beyond just Western New York, although this was the hardest hit area. But again, had a conversation with all of our local officials who are doing an extraordinary job as well. Finally, just to all the first responders, the police, the crew drivers, the plow drivers, the mechanics, the state, county, local personnel, this was your Super Bowl. And I want to tell you, you won. You won this Super Bowl. you just, I don't want to spike the football yet because we're still in the middle of the game, but in my mind, you all deserve the brass ring for the incredible work that you did and the sacrifice to yourselves, your families. I know you're exhausted, but you've been extraordinary. I'm really proud of you.